Hello everyone and welcome back to A Walk to Workout with Whittaker. And today we are talking about Eve of the Daleks. Now of course I did say that I intended to do a full review of Flux as a full story, but I haven't wanted to rewatch it, and I don't think that's a reflection on Flux itself. I'm just not quite ready to watch all 6 episodes of that in rapid succession. Says the guy who has watched all of Trial of the Time Lord in a day at least 3 times. But I digress. Today is all about Eve of the Daleks. And I really feel that this was a super successful episode. And probably the best of Chibnall's 3 New Year's Day Dalek specials. And I already rated the first 2 quite highly. One criticism I made of Revolution of the Daleks last year was that, I felt there was too much plot crammed into its running time. Whereas this, I actually felt the plot was just the right size. And the time loop mechanic was really well utilised. It was made clear from the off that events can change within the time loop, and that everyone remembered what happened on the previous go-round. And it did all that without having to have a long expository speech from Jodie Whittaker, who is of course very good at delivering those expository speeches, but she shouldn't need to have them all the time. Instead, we are shown that through the characters simply remembering, and through them being able to do different things and die in different places and different times. And so it's a lot more effective, and it's a lot more of the show rather than tell that I wanted from Chris Chibnall. So, when it's already improving on things that I thought were pretty good anyway, it's clear to see why I think this is such a successful episode. I think after the massive sprawl across the universe that was Flux, restricting this episode to a single building, one location, and a very small cast of characters was an excellent decision. And I felt that each of the characters was given enough to do to justify their presence within the plot. Perhaps I'm slightly disappointed that Sarah's mum, who is played by Mrs. Doyle from Father Ted, was not in more of the episode. She kind of phoned in her performance. But it was still nice. It was still nice to see her. And Sarah and Nick are such likeable characters. Now, Nick, of course, has all these things from ex-girlfriends. And I think that's possibly lost a little bit in translation from the script. I think you needed to have less of them, less, different items, because part of this whole thing is that he's really shy, which is why he has never asked out Sarah. And he's been coming around for 3 years, just like Chibnall Doctor Who has been. But yet, he seems to also be a serial monogamist and have all these short-term, but apparently meaningful relationships. I think maybe if there were only 3 or 4 things in his storage locker, maybe a smaller storage locker, that could have made it make a bit more sense. However, it does give us that wonderful dad joke, Chibnall always has to get his dad jokes in, of terminate when he lets go of all the stuff. But I think what offsets the creepiness is a genuinely likeable performance and giving the character some heroic, if stupid moments, like, let them all go free and you can kill me. It's like, well, it's not about you. And here's the thing, I thought maybe Daleks were turning up because of something in Jeff's storage area, all the stuff he wasn't meant to have. But no, they are just after the Doctor. And, it simplifies things a bit, and it means that this situation is the Doctor's fault. and she needs to be the one to solve it. It's interesting, therefore, that we get a little cameo from Carl, the crane operator from Jodie's very first episode, where she has to save him. Now, he hasn't done anything to bring the situation on himself, of course, but he's still the centre of the situation. Whereas here, the Doctor's the centre of the situation. And Chibnall has been getting better at tying things in thematically. So this situation is literally a fallout of the Doctor's actions, but also her fractured relationship with Yaz is a fallout of her actions. And in solving one, the other begins to repair as well. Now, one thing this era hasn't done for me as much as past eras has been sort of emotionally engaging me. You know, I've enjoyed it, but I haven't felt massively attached to the characters as I had in the past. So I will say that the conversation between Dan and Yaz about how Yaz likes the Doctor and does she know made me cry. And I don't think the Whittaker era has made me cry since Can You Hear Me? Sorry, It Takes You Away, not Can You Hear Me? And you know, that's not the be-all and end-all. But for the whole Phasman situation, which I haven't always bought into, but I have seen getting development in Flux and in this story, for that to emotionally engage me, I think that means that scene was effectively written and very effectively performed by Mandip and John. Now, I kind of wish we'd had a bit of development about it from the Doctor as well. But the Doctor kind of just does that thing where she shrugs it off at the end, even though Yaz doesn't know that Dan has told her, basically. And I do also question, it's not really Dan's place to do that. But I was discussing that with my husband, and he said, well, look, he said he's been in situations where friends have had to do that, usually to tell him unpleasant things, and he does appreciate the knowledge. Just garbage truck. Man collecting garbage, so I'll let him get on with it. And you know, Dan's kind of does come into this situation. But at the same time, you know, Dan has missed his chance with Diane because of all this has happened. So that's the area he's coming from. And it's also not done out of malice, but it's kind of weird that this plot has to move on with an external influence, i.e. Dan, rather than just being sorted out between the Doctor and Yaz. But that is a minor criticism, in my opinion. The time loop plot itself, you know, I kind of... Oh, gone down the wrong street. I'll take this next alley. The time loop plot itself, I think it's a really effective device for if you're going to be doing this kind of runaround, to be able to repeat certain moments, but not to have a sort of Star Trek cause and effect, or even Doctor Who make loss kind of thing, where you've got to go through the same motions every single time. Sort of, I think it's from pretty much the third loop, where everyone immediately starts changing what they're doing. And that's the thing. Nick and Sarah don't have to be told that that's what you do. They know that something strange is going on, and they try to sort it out for themselves before the Doctor gets involved. I also realised halfway through that Sarah, being the boss of the elf storage facility, absolutely love it, is that she is the intransigent base commander, you know? She is the one saying, well, no, we can't do that. No, we can't possibly do that, etc., etc. And what I really love about that is very often when this Doctor is called to task by someone, her defense of herself is pretty kind of weedy. But here, the Doctor engages in this full-throated defense of what they're going to do and why it's going to save everyone and why they all have to work together. And it's a really powerful moment when they're all standing in the lobby and then the three Daleks turn up and shoot them all. Because the Doctor just steps in front of everyone, and basically just has that look on her face of, well, okay, Daleks, see you next time. Yeah, I thought it was a great use of all the characters, a really fun and interesting plot. It moves forward the Doctor and Yaz's relationship, but I think we need to have the talk in the next special. And the next special. Okay, I don't often talk about next time trailers on these reviews because it's not about that, but oh my god! The Sea Devils. Probably should have put on a spoiler warning there. The Sea Devils look so good for the next episode. And it's windier here than it was elsewhere, so let's see if I can move somewhere where it's less windy. But yeah, they look so good, and I am so happy to see them back. And yeah, even though we only have 3 episodes this year, and then we're going to have to wait until November next year for RTD2 era to begin, if they can all maintain this level of quality from most of Flux and Eve of the Daleks, that is going to be a really strong ending to this era. And it also, to me, means despite this era's problems, it will have constantly improved as it's gone along. I just kind of wish it had always been this good. It's a definite 8 out of 10 from me. I'd be very interested to hear what you think down in the comments. As for the channel, look, I have lots of ideas I want to do, but I also have a day job that takes up 10 hours of the day every day. Yeah, I've been getting some comments from people saying they'd like to see more, and I'd love to do more, but it's just a matter of where do I find the time. But I do appreciate you all watching, and I appreciate you, when people are saying we want to see more of you, that's never a bad thing in my opinion. But I hope to be able to give you more this year, aside from just walking reviews. But in the meantime, please let me know what you think of the episode. I'd love for you to share this review as well. But whatever you choose to do, I hope your year starts really well and you all stay safe, and thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go jump on an elliptical for half an hour. Fun, fun, fun. Could say I'm going around in circles.